Hey everyone, welcome back again to Mark and Mark. We're still in chapter 2 now, still in my house. Welcome if this is your first time joining us. We're in Mark chapter 2, verse 13. Then Jesus went out again beside the sea. The whole crowd was coming to him and he taught them. Then, moving on, he saw Levi, the son of Alphaeus, sitting at the tax office. And he said to him, "Follow me." So he, Levi, got up and followed him, Jesus. Now what's happening here is, we've seen this before, where we've got the location, we've got an authoritative command, follow me, and then we've got the response. And we see it again, this time from a tax collector. Now let's talk about this, because the tax collectors in the ancient world weren't quite like our modern day tax collectors. They worked for Rome, which was the foreign occupying power at the time. And the way that it worked was, let's say Rome wanted a certain amount of tax. This was Rome's. And your job as a tax collector was to get this amount. Now, the way you got paid is Rome let you take as much more than this as you could get. So if you could get this much more, then that became yours. If you could get this much more, then all of that became yours. So you got to keep, the more you took, the more you collected, the more you got to keep. So long as Rome got their bit, you could take whatever else. And so these tax collectors were known for being shonky, for being thugs and bullies and liars. They were taking tax for the occupying powers. They were like treasonous as well. They were working for the enemy. These people were like everything that a current affair would just put a big red shame stamp on. These were like the shonky builder who rips off pensioners while making children obese. They were like the trifecta. So everyone hated them. And Jesus says to this tax collector, "Come follow me." And then in verse 15, we got this cut, new scene. Now we're suddenly reclining at a table at Levi's house. And there were many tax collectors and sinners were there. And then we're told, verse 16, when the scribes of the Pharisees saw that he, Jesus, was eating with sinners and tax collectors, they asked his disciples, "Why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners?" So you got this like three: tax collectors and sinners, sinners and tax collectors and sinners. This is the big thing. Jesus is hanging out with the wrong kind of people. He's hanging out with the outcasts. He's hanging out with the people that the religious elites thought were the ones you weren't supposed to hang out with. These were the dregs of society. These were the bad people, the people that no one liked, no one wanted. Everyone knew God didn't love them either. No one loved them. But here's Jesus spending time with the outcasts, with the people who the religious elites said weren't allowed, weren't good enough, weren't acceptable enough. And so they're like, why does he spend time with these people? And we're told when Jesus heard this, he said to them, "It's not those who are well who need a doctor, but the sick. I didn't come to call the righteous, but sinners. Those who are well are the righteous, and the sick are the sinners." And Jesus says, I haven't come for people who are righteous, who think that they're okay. Right? The Pharisees and these scribes, they think that they're well. They think that they're righteous, but they're actually not. They're just as sick as anyone else. His point's not, there are some people who are righteous and well and who don't need him. That's not his point. His point is he's spending time with these tax collectors and these sinners, these outcasts, because that's why he's come. He's a doctor, and he's come for the sick. And if he's a doctor, if Jesus is the one who's come to help those of us who are sick, then how are we supposed to respond? Well, it's the same when you go see any doctor. I mean, just recently I got my COVID vaccine. It's the same thing. You need to listen to them. You need to listen to their diagnosis. And then number two, you need to trust what they say. And then number three, you need to accept the cure. And it's the same when it comes to Jesus and sin. We need to listen to him and his diagnosis that we're sick. We need to trust what he has to say, and we need to accept the cure. And what is the cure? Well, it's Jesus' own death for us on the cross. And see, maybe you think to yourself, I don't think I'm sick. I don't think I'm a sinner. And some of us can be sick and be asymptomatic. And you can think, you can feel, you can appear as though everything's fine. But deep on the inside, there can be sickness there. And Jesus' diagnosis is that that's how it is. For some of us, our sickness isn't obvious, but all of us are sick and disconnected from God himself, and all of us need this cure. And Jesus has come to bring it. Well, that's all for this time. We'll see you next time.